Flooring Models kit review time. Something for our Star Wars special week. We've got here, this is the Star Wars Level 2 Millennium Falcon. Okay, this is a snap tight kit, but as we know, because we've seen some of them now, they actually are pretty good. So we've got a quick run through of the sprues, and what we're going to do is a quick build of this one as well. So starting off in your little pamphlet, or your little booklet, we just bring this camera down just a little bit. We can see got the usual thing, call outs. Now it's very straightforward on this one, so as you can imagine, very limited detail in the cockpit. We've got the undercarriage pads or legs or whatever you want to call them going down there. We've got some obviously in the internal details. The radar, I have noticed, we'll see in a moment, you get both types, you get the old and the new. The one thing that's a little bit odd is this laser cannon that goes on the top. It doesn't look like obviously the one on the box art, and it's definitely not like the one in the film. Okay. Pads being then put in, the actual undercarriage system, and then the doors for those, but obviously you can have them up or down. It's personal choice on that one. If you're going up, then obviously use the other doors and you just do it up. Nice little system on here because obviously it's like a clamshell, but it has got internal detail, which one thing is left out normally on a lot of the kits. This external detail going in all the way through. So we've got the lights and the cannons on the front, okay, and then the side, the docking port on there, and obviously the side parts going in. It's saying about holding them all in with tape, but let's face it, we would glue it, all right? And then obviously we've got the various parts all going in. The clear blue going around on the back for the actual engines. The glass work going in, remember to do it inverted, not pushing outwards, okay? Top half of the front cockpit section going in, the other entry point in there. Then you've got the glass going on, the radar and the top gun, okay? And then it is literally the case of two halves together. Looks pretty good. So looking at the detail itself, now we've compared this to obviously things like Bandai's kits and stuff like that, and actually all the detail is here. It's a little bit larger and obviously it's a little bit clunky. As you can see, it's also pre-painted. This is something we're going to do here on Flooring Models for our Star Wars month. We're going to repaint this, we're going to prime this, get rid of a horrible paint job that they've given it, and then we're going to go to town on it and weather it up in the Studio Effects way, all right? But as you can see, everything's here as the base point. Now, if you wanted to, obviously you could then cut these out, replace these vents on the top. Okay, these little power systems down in here, you know, if you wanted to cut them out, wouldn't be too much to come in, whip them out, and then obviously knock up some replacements and put them in as a drop fit in and everything else. But generally, looking around at this detail as we've done on this particular kit, actually it is just as good as we've found on the Bandai one. It's just bigger, but they are all here, so it's not like this is just generic patterns all over this. This is how it is, so it's actually not too bad at all. Okay, so if we have a look on the underside, as we can see, we've got some great details on all this as well, no problem. Not probably as refined and as detailed as we've seen obviously on other kits that are coming out. But don't forget, this is supposed to be an easy kit. What my opinion is, yes, it's a little bit bigger and chunky, but I think by the time we've come in here and we've detailed these parts up properly, you know, replace the gun on it and the various things, we're not going to be a million miles away from other kits. Price of this thing's around about 50 quid, you can find it online. So you do get quite a bit of plastic for your money. Now, running through the sprues, again, these are all somewhat, some are pre-painted, others are not. So we've actually got the entry door, the modern radar for the new, the Force Awakens Millennium Falcon, but you'll see you do get both. Then this is all done with the feet, and you might be able to see they are being painted silver as well. We've got the gear doors, these are the actual pads themselves. Gear doors open, okay, and various other items going down on there, as you can see. So generally, a little bit of painting, but again, it's all here, it's just a little bit crude. But then it starts to get a little bit interesting. So as you can see down here, we've got the docking rings, obviously for docking in space, things like that. Actually, horrible paint job, not bad detail in those at all. Okay, and then you can see these detail on the side. Now these have had a very crude wash, just brushed over it. You see the brush marks in it even. But again, the detail's there for us to then refine it. So prime this, get rid of this horrible pre-shading job they've done, or it's a sort of wash that they've put on, and we can go in, paint it, pick out different colors if you wanted to, wash it properly, dry brush it, bring it all up, and actually bring it to life, because these details are correct. I've been around as well and had a look. These are what it is on the real thing. So again, no problem. This is the underside of obviously the actual the cockpit area itself. These are these horrible laser cannons which are just molded in one lump. They are awful, so I'm planning on replacing them. We'll try and make something up with that. Okay, back of the cockpit wall, okay, as you work your way through, but generally, as I said, not too bad at all. Then we get a little bit more interesting again. So we've got a cockpit, which for its scale, I think is perfectly acceptable. This is around about 1/72 scale, so it's going to give you an overall size around about 37.5 centimeters, something like that, okay? But you do get, as you can see here, we've got the original radome, okay, for the actual radar, so you can swatch that one out if you wanted to, do it differently. So we've got access ports coming in. These are the upper and bottom sides inside this area down in here, okay, a couple of other parts as you work your way around it. So generally it is all here, it's just a little bit clunky. All right, then we've got this guy, which I haven't even got out yet. Okay, now this is a bit weird because it's clear and then they've done it in a solid blue underneath, which technically, I suppose it sort of works. You catch it in the camera like this. But what I'd prefer to have done is actually perhaps given this from the inside a clear blue, okay, and then perhaps a very light grey thin behind it just to give it some depth, but definitely not coming with a solid blue over a clear, because otherwise I think it just makes it look a little bit, I don't know, awkward. It would have been better, I think, with a better blue, perhaps more like a metallic blue or something else like that. But this is the clear part for the engine at the rear. And then, which is quite a nice touch, obviously for the junior members as well who are building things like that, is a pre-painted cockpit. So you don't have to worry about having to paint all that. And actually, to be honest, it's not a bad job. It's all fully raised details and everything else like that, so there's no problem with that. These are internal details, so it's been painted on the inside, but again, quite easy to paint these because they are done. And these have obviously been painted by hand, because you can actually see little brush marks on it where they've come along. Some of it's been airbrushed, and then other bits down here we've got tape, but it wouldn't take a genius to mask that up, respray it and everything else. So if you are going to weather it in, it won't matter so much, but if you did want to go for a full color change or something else like that, then obviously you'd have to respray these. But generally, there we go. Now, I know a lot has been said about these kits being very basic and all the rest of it, but I'm going to build this one. We're going to put it together. I'm going to do it as a quick build, which will tag along with this video. Okay, so stay tuned. And then what I'm going to do is we're actually going to paint this completely. So we're going to prime it, start again, fully paint and weather it whilst we're doing the Bandai one. Now, the Bandai one is obviously the king of the hill at the moment for its scaling 144. It's a beautiful kit and everything else. So we're going to build that one. But I think really, especially for the junior models coming into this, we've seen the TIE fighters, we've looked at their X-Wing, stuff like that. Actually, the level 2 stuff is very, very nice. There's no problem with it at all. It gives you that good starting point. There is build work involved in there. You are going to have to take care of getting it all together and everything else. But at the end of the day, you can build it in an afternoon, and I think that's great for the kids. So if you are looking for a Christmas present, something like that, and you want to get the kids into the modelling, a bit into the hobby, this is a perfect way of doing it, because you've got enough build work there to keep them building, but you haven't got to worry about painting, gluing, and all the bits that are boring, and then they can fly it around the living room. So there we go, stay tuned and we'll get this thing built. Okay, so really for the kids this one, but obviously you can follow through because we're going to repaint this one and weather it and everything else. So here we go, looking down at your instructions, have a look through your instructions first, okay? As boring as it sounds, it gives you an idea of the parts, what they look like, where to look out for them, okay? Also, when you can't find the actual parts, so say it says here like number 50, have a look down on here because you'll know what tree it's from. Okay, and when we say tree, we basically mean the outer bit that holds all the parts on, okay? So basically what we've actually got, a couple of tools. We've got a knife, not essential. You'll see I hardly use it. I have got a pair of scissors. I remove all the sprues, things like that. It's safer than a knife. Okay, and I've got a file. So you could use obviously a proper file, a modeling file, or you can just use something from, you know, nail files, stuff like that works equally as well. But it's handy because they make a cleaner finish to your parts. When they go together, they'll go together a lot easier. So first up, it's talking about the cockpit, so we'll get number 8 off. We can see number 8 down here on the tree. All right, so we'll snip him off. What I do, I'll put the scissors up to the edge, okay, and then cut in. That way you get no need to sand it at all because it's perfectly clean. And we need the cockpit. Now, obviously you could paint and weather and put the cockpit together, looking beautifully, all done. But you're hardly going to see it, okay? What you could do though is a tiny little bit of dry brushing just to liven it up, okay? But we'll do that in a moment once we've got it together. So technically you get the two big bits at the back. Now you might find they don't go in very easy. That's because the paint makes the holes a little bit bigger, but that sits on there just like that. And then we need the bottom of the cockpit, which is this guy here. All right, so we're just going to grab a little bit of this. Okay, so down on here, we're just going to file the edges just to keep them all nice and smooth. So when we come to painting later on, we'll have no bits hanging out or anything else like that. So just do this one around the front. Okay, that's on like that. And then this guy got the 2 feet, and the 2 holes are literally just going to go in and push in, and they lock in as easy as that. Very straightforward, nice and easy. Okay, number 2 is calling out for the undercarriage to be done. All right, so in our case, where's the undercarriage? That's these ones here. So we're looking down and we're looking for number 50. Where is it? There we go, 53A. All right, which is this guy here. So again, cutting them off, and if you use scissors, you don't have to worry about your fingers or anything else like that. Okay, I'm just going to cut that one. Okay, and we'll take the other one off as well. There's 2 sets of these. So again, just snipping them all off. All right. Then we got the actual feet for these. I'll screw that one's actually on. Okay, so that's these 2 down the back here. So again, we just snip them all off. Snip off your feet. Okay, and then we got these guys which are 50, which are all the same. They're all number 50, okay, so you don't matter which one you grab. So we just need a few of these. So we'll just grab 4 for the minute. Spare. Okay, then what we'll do, just taking the sanding stick, just going to sand off those edges. Just where we removed them from the tree. And just smooth them out, and it'll just make them all look nicer. There's nothing worse with horrible tabs hanging out. Okay, we've got these with the pads. Just 1 and 2. Okay, and then the same with the feet. So actually these are pretty clean, probably get away with not needing those. So this is how these work. So if you notice, these have got a small little tab just down on the edge. Okay, so the little feet go the same way. All right, so first one, it's important to make sure that little tab is lining up. Making sure they face to the rear. Okay, and then this guy tabs to the rear. It's just going to go in. Doesn't think this matters if it's left or right. Okay. It's going to come in, push up, and that's your undercarriage done just like that. So we'll just do the same on the other side. Okay, tab to the rear. Okay. 2 of the undercarriage legs done, nice and straightforward. Okay, so we're going to repeat for the other ones as well. So these are just the single ones. All right, so we've got to do a few of those. So I'll just do those. Okay, so as you can see, good old push down with those just to make sure they're down firm. Okay, and then over to here. So we've got this one down here. Work out which one it is. So 17 and 18. So these two. Okay, which is the stairway gantry. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Also on these, what you want to do is just take these little guys off as well. So we need those snipped off out of the way. You don't want those, they're just ejector pin marks. Okay, so we just put them out of the way. Okay, and then we're just going to sand those, make those better. Okay, so what, number 19. 19. So number 19. Tough bit of plastic. Okay. Same thing, a couple of swipes just to clean it up. Okay, and then using the nice side up, because obviously one's got little holes in it, use the nice side up. Okay, and we're just going to pop these in. Now these aren't exactly a brilliant fit, in fact they might fall out, so what we're going to do is glue those. Alright, so if you have got some glue, if you haven't, don't worry about it, but if you have, we'll just pop in, we're just going to put a bit of glue just around the bottom of every foot, just so it soaks into the joint. Okay, and it'll work its way along. Okay, so we just stick that on its edge. Now, we've got the radome on the top, which is obviously, this is the newer version of the two, which we've got to find it now. There it is. So say this radome is the new one, you can fit the old one as well. You get both in the kit. So if you wanted to do the original trilogy, or obviously this being the newer one, it's totally up to you. Okay, so we got that, then we've got to do this. So we just be a little bit careful when removing these. Okay, it's fine, little snips with the scissors. Just the tips so we don't bend any of the plastic. Okay. And down on this side. Last cut, always hold the part so it doesn't ping off. Okay. So again, we're just going to tidy up the edges. Okay, and then this guy, we'll tidy this one up as well. Okay, one. Two. And a bit more just there at the front. Okay, and we can stick that in. Pushes in, simple as that. Okay, so we've got the two rear parts, which are, must be on here, I'm thinking, perhaps not. Two. Four. And we want the C, which is number 5. D. Hidden nicely, just down in here. I thought it was a bit of sprue, but it's not. Okay, so let's go cut 1. Big chunks. 2. Bit nasty this one, so we're going to make a little bit of care on this one. It's got a big seam running down it, so we're going to sand that all completely off, so it's just one nice flat piece of plastic. Okay, so if we do come along and paint this one up, or if you are, it'll just make it look a lot nicer, and obviously we can do it right now. Okay, and then obviously all the front ones. Get rid of those big nasty pegs. Okay, and the back one. Okay, so a bit of cleaning, and that one's done as well. So we just need to do this one. And what you're trying to do is the seam line, which is the bit that joins the two halves of the plastic together, if you like, in the moulding, then that is what you're trying to get rid of. Alright, because they look a bit horrible. Okay, so we just whip round there. Okay, that's that one successfully done. Now both these, I'll just do the bottom ones as well. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, now both of these are going to lock onto the bottom. Bit tricky. So what we do, we stick it down, place it over the top. In fact, that's really tricky. Come on, you little get in there. You might need someone to give you a hand, because actually that's a very, very stiff fit. And you don't want to totally overstress the bit, because otherwise it's going to snap. Okay, we don't want it to snap. So we just try to get, there we go, one side in. It's a bit of a loose fit, and then obviously you've got the 2 feet and the pad are just going to shove in the back, but that middle one has got a little bit of what we call flash on it, which is a bit of plastic. We don't want that on there, so we just sand that away, and then that should fit in. And there's our radar antenna for the top. Okay, or its communications. Okay, so that's that one done. Now we're over to here. Now this one originally had a wire frame all the way around, or what we call the tree. So I've taken that off and I've sanded off all the little tabby bits that came off. So you need to do that as well. So once they're off, then forget this laser gun on the top, because it looks horrible, and I'm going to play with it and we're going to adjust it. We're going to make it look slightly different. Okay, so what we're going to do is the ramp down here. Okay, so that's this guy. Okay, the little coloured guy. We just turn it over. The reason I turn it over is that you might notice that the tab, it's got like an edge on it, and I can put the scissors right up to the edge and then cut, and we have an extremely clean cut, because we're going up to the part. But that way, technically, you don't even have to clean it up. We will, just to make it look nicer, but because you're cutting right up against it. In fact, the others are so good, I can't find them. Down there somewhere. Okay, so that's that one. And then we go to the underside. Okay, and this is saying here it's got 1 and 2, so it's saying about putting number 1 in first. Okay, 1 in first, and then obviously come up, because this is the boarding area. Okay, but we don't want to glue it, because we want it to be sort of a working part, but that's the one. It's just going to fit in there just like that. As I said, scrap the gun. All right. Then you've got the undercarriage legs, which are going to go on, and we'll pop them in for the minute, even though we're not going to keep them on. We're going to replace some paint and do some nice things to this one, but for the moment, just for show, we'll pop the undercarriage on. These are a nice fit. Okay, this is the 5-legged version instead of the original 3. Okay, so that's those on. Just like that. Then you've got the doors as well, and they're just a straightforward push fit. So with the doors, you've got these guys just down here. Okay, so again, we're just going to cut all these off the sprue. Okay, now if you were doing it with without the legs, then you would use these flat ones, okay, all round here as well, but they're all roughly the same thing, okay, but we're going to be doing ours with the legs down. So we need to first of all cut off all of these, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to repaint this one completely and paint it and weather it and everything else, which is obviously going to be a little bit more advanced than what we're showing here. Okay, so this is going to just show you about actually just building it and putting it together. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back for all you master modelers out there, and we're going to completely take this thing apart again, and then we're going to come in, it's got all of that, and then we're going to weather it completely using studio techniques. Okay, so that's big, broad film techniques. So i.e. things are going to be slightly overdone, which is great for me because obviously I've got cameras here as well and you want to see the details. Okay, but also little things like we could come along and add detail to the inside of these gear doors. Okay, and obviously there's no detail and you have got ejector pins in there, which if you were doing what I'm going to be doing, we'll be taking these off and redoing them off, right? So don't fret it. This is like a 2-stage thing. Got a part for the kids, or the young at heart, or the first moving into modelling. I think these are great kits for moving into the hobby. These are fantastic. I know I've had my differences with Revell in the past, but quite frankly, we're all friends now. And I love these kits. These are really, really good. Okay. Okay, so, and then you've got slots, and then these. I don't know if there's any right or wrong to these slots, how they go. I think it'd probably be easier, if I'm honest, take the legs out, put these in. How these are going to actually go. See, these are showing one leg to the outside. Okay, these are actually really good because you can't put these in the wrong order. But what it is easy is to take the legs out. These are all done in a specific way, so they can only fit one area at a time. Okay, so if you find the slots don't line up, it means you've got the leg in the wrong place. Okay, or the door in the wrong place. Okay, so they're very cleverly thought out, very nicely designed to help us out. So we'll go in and we'll put that leg back in. Okay, we'll just take this guy out. Hopefully this will be the right one. No, I don't think that's the right one. It's going to be the nose leg. Nope. Nope. Find the right leg for one. Come on, I know you're the one. Again, a little bit of a tab at the front, just so it didn't take it off. Send that back, that should fit perfectly now. There we go. And on the other side. Little bit off, so we've just got to grab the other legs. Okay, just grabbing a skinny stick just to get in these little areas, just makes things so much easier. Okay, and then these ones are a little bit odd because you would think that the legs would all fit the same slots, but actually they don't. They're slightly different on this one. Okay, as long as you detail the lumpy bits are all to the outside. Okay, and then pop these gears back in. There we go, that's our gear all on, which actually, again, doesn't look too bad. I think by the time we painted and weathered it, we look the part. That's it. Very nicely done. So we'll just remove some of the scrappy bits. Okay, that's all fine. We're doing it with them up. Next up, we've got the actual internal parts. So we've got this guy just going to be coming in here. This is obviously the excess ramp. Okay, going up and down, and this is what will hold it in the open position, because this then drops down. Okay, which gives us our detail just like that. Okay, so that's going to go up and close. It's jumping out of this thing at the moment. There's going to be a bar which is going to hold this in. Okay, but that's the point to that one. So very nice touch that. So just for the moment, put it in the down position and stick it down there. Okay, right. Next, we've got to do the little clam detail. Okay, so what we're going to do. And that's these two here. So the first one we want is number 15, which is the smaller one of the two, which is this bit of detail just here. And this is what's going to fit. Okay, that's going to fit just down in here. Okay. So we just clean up those parts, they're all fine. And then, as I said, this guy is going to come in. And then just lining up the holes. Okay. Actually, again, nice little fit. That one just goes in there like that. I'm also doing it, we'll just pop the other one out as well, because we know we'll need that in a moment. Okay. Just pop that one there. The other thing we want to do is going to grab this bar here. Okay, that's this guy just here, okay, which is number 33, which is this one, and this is what's going to hold that boarding door open and closed without it falling off on us all the time. So again, you don't really have to take any care of this because it is a structural part rather than anything else. So that's just going to come in. This is this one here, it's going to fit just in there, and then it'll push down. Okay, and that's going to hold in this door system. Okay, and it's going to give it the rigidity, and it's not going to pop out now, and all the rest of it. So we do come down, as you can see, we've got the boarding, okay, and everything just like that. Okay, we just lost the door, not a problem. Okay, obviously what we would do is glue these, because you could glue them easily from the inside. These slots coming up for these inner doors. All right, but for the moment, we're all good. Got the glass parts going to go in as well. Okay, now the clear parts, around here somewhere. Here we go. Okay, so you've got two different sets of them. So we want number 12. Okay, so you've got number 2, number 12. I don't know how much difference there is between the two. Okay, now these are recessed, as in the dome bit goes to the inside. Okay, so then what happens is that these come in and literally just going to fit. He says, hopefully. Get these to push over the holes. 1, 2, 3, there we go. There's 1 and 2. Okay, so that one's in, which then gives us our inside. Okay, and they go inwards, not outwards. Okay, so they push in. They won't go the other way anyway because the gun bits are in the way. Okay, so that takes care of that. So that's those done. Next we can move up here. So we've got some of these little internal parts here. So what we've got is the two at the front, which is 30, which is these guys, okay, which have been pre-painted, or pre-washed I should say in this case. when we say washing, it's just that way of getting it the capillary action to pull it all round. Okay, so that's that one done there, and then we want number 33, which I don't know if it's on this sprue. 3, can't see it too well on that one. It's over here. Okay, so we're just going to whip this guy off. Okay, and then we've got 31 and 32, which I do believe are these two. Okay, so we just take them off the sprue as well. Two, 3, 2, 3. Okay, so pretty clean. Just a few swipes just to clean up the tabs, because obviously we want these to fit nicely. Okay, and on this one. Okay. And again, these have been pre-painted, which is a nice touch, but as I say, we can do better. Okay, that one's all fine. Okay. So what we're going to do now is attach all of these to the front parts. All right, so we've got this flat plate going to go in. Okay, so what we're going to do is the flat plate apparently is going to sit in something that doesn't exist, which is always clever. Okay, right, now a little bit of difference. The flat plate here, which is this part here, is calling out to go in a groove. Unfortunately, we don't have one. Okay, so somebody has forgot to build that part into here. All right, but don't fear, we can change that. What we're going to do is just got a little tab on that guy. Just take that one off. We're going to put the other ones in first. Okay, so we're going to put these forward ones in. Okay, now these I do believe are only going to go one way with a tab out. It's like a T shape. Okay, on this to a T shape on the front. Okay, so that will fit in. Not the best fit in the world, but that's what they do. Okay. And they only go one way as well, okay, because one's a T shape, one's like an R shape on the inside here, but that gives you that forward detail just like that. Okay, then we got these guys going in, and these in theory only go one way as well. Okay, so we're thinking, oh, catch that, let's try this one in first. So I'm just going to push that in, make sure he's sat properly. And let's try this one in afterwards, see if it fits better. Yeah, okay. So you might want to put those in after this guy. Okay. Again, these. These are quite an awkward little fit just to get to lock in. But they should push in something like that. And then this guy, okay, is going to go in between the two grooves just here, if this has worked. And what it's going to do is going to pull and push everything, well, hopefully, into place. Okay. Which didn't work exactly to plan. A bit tight there. Let me just dry fit this. When we say dry fit, we just make sure which way round this goes. I'm thinking it's probably going to go that way. Okay, so the bit with the two little pegs at the bottom is going to be the front side. So if we just do that again. small. 2 feet peg down. Okay, a little bit complex to get down in here, putting a lot of stress on parts. Okay, it's actually manoeuvring things around in here, which I don't want to see manoeuvred around. Okay, that's just a door for you again. There's another door. Might be easier. Okay, so I think we just about got away with that. So let's pop these guys back in the front. And these in should be the same height as the others, but that gives you that detail down on the inside, which to be honest isn't the nicest fit in the world. It's very tight. One of those things, press it in there, get in there firm, but what should happen is down the back here you see it sits in there like this, but there is no panel. As pointed out in the instructions, as a tab it sits in, it hasn't got one. Alright, now we put the front sections on and we can really start making it look the part. Okay, again, lovely detail on these. Might as well take both off the sprue at the same time. And we'll take the docking collars off. Okay. We might as well have these now. Okay, so we just give these a quick clean up. Okay, so we just got these side panels down here, which is 21. Okay, well, that's 21. And I'm hoping 27. No, 22. It's a pain. So we just take these off separate so we know which is which, just make things easier. Give this a quick sand. Okay, so now it's saying about using sellotape, so we won't worry about that. Okay, so that's the one for this side. And then usual thing again, you've got the groove running down the bottom and around is going to go into this groove down here. So make sure it's all clean, otherwise it's not going to sit correctly in that groove. Okay, and then this is literally just going to push down into that groove. Okay, so that sits down there in there. Alright, which goes in there just like that. Alright, and then we've got these two, which the peg on the bottom goes to the lower part, so let's put him in first. Okay. Getting a little bit fiddly just to get in there. This guy hopefully will fit just like so. Bit of a nudge just to force that one down and in. Okay, probably the same on this one. Okay. So that's that one down in there, and then down here these collars I do believe are just exactly identical, which they are, and then this guy is going to just come in again, it doesn't say which way up they are, which is a bit of a pain. Which is that way. Okay, so the little feet, these little tabs down the bottom on these go to the bottom. Okay, so that is in and sorted. So there we go, that one's looking good. There we go, that's 15 taken care of, and we're just going to repeat exactly the same for the other side. Okay, quick clear up in here. Okay. Okay, so that's both of those sides in. We got one round there and we got one round there. Okay, so looking good there. So all we got to do now is put in the two rear plates each side. Okay, so we just snip these guys off. Now on these you might notice you've got lots of other parts. So what you've actually got is the original undercarriage set down here, which looks like it is the 3 set for just the tri-landing gear, and you've got the original radome as well, so that's why you've got the extra bits on this one. So I'm wondering if you could quite easily switch this one over, because it looks like all the parts are there to do it. Okay. Just making sure they're all clean. Okay, and then these guys are going to come around the back. I'm going to sit in here. Okay, so we got one just down in there, and this guy is going to go over here. Okay, so that's that one on there, around there like that. Okay. Then we put in the blue part, which, to be honest, I don't think is the best colour, but we might change that later on. We might try and do something with this. Okay. And then this part's got the little feet. It's going to go in the little feet just down the back here. Okay, so that gives you your blue background. Actually, it doesn't look too bad in there. It looks horrible on the sprue. Okay, so that's that one in just like that. Then we move over to this part. Okay, so we won't put the top in just for the moment. This section can go in though. This is the coming from the bottom. Okay, so it's literally just going to sit in these 2 feet into these 2 here, and then obviously this black part at the back is going to go into this lip, so it's just going to literally slot down and in. Might need a bit of a squeeze to get that to line in. Doesn't look like it wants to go. No, that isn't going to want to fit in there. Bit of a squeeze. We'll leave it like that for the minute, but when we come to do this properly, we're going to glue it. So we will find out what is exactly going wrong with that joint. I've got a feeling it's the back panel isn't allowing that to sit correctly. Okay, we've got this part on the front, which is just like we did on the other side, so that's going to sit down in here, which is part number 14. Okay, good old push, seat that down, get that one in fine. Okay, and then we've got the other clear part, which is going to come in under here. Okay, exactly the same as we did with the other one. Line it up with the hole. These things really don't like lining up. Okay, so he's in there. He's not quite in there, the second one. I'm not going to force it because I don't think it wants to, and I don't want to wreck it because we need to take it out for painting. Okay, that's those in there just like that. The radar we'll put on afterwards, and then it's just a case of sandwiching it together. Okay, so then we've just got to line up all these big pins that are hanging out with all the ones in here. So pick an area to start with. So I'm going to start at the front, gently stick on. I'm just going to push the front down. And we're just going to feel our way to try and get all of this to push together. Whoops, that's the trouble you have. That's okay. Here. Just this side not sitting here. Just little squeezes, little pushes, just to see what's going, what's not, and then hopefully you can discover reasons why. That's gone fine all the way around apart from, oh there you go, that one's in. Okay, a bit of a squeeze. Making sure we're all sat nicely. Very good. Okay, that's that one in. Radome, this is going to be a ball joint, and what happens is you're going to push it in through the hole and then it will lock. Now I don't want it to totally lock at the moment, so I'm going to leave it as a loose fit because we need to take that one out later. Okay, and then we've got the cockpit. Just going to come along, and that hopefully will seat. Again, don't want to force any reasons why it won't. Not quite happening on there, and I don't want to over force it because, as I say, we're going to take this thing apart. But there we have it. We have a couple of undercarriage doors which need to sort of sit back on, which is this one over here. I thought we had some front ones here to do. Okay. And got this one, which is the side. Okay, so, with the exception of the radar, which we can sort out in a moment, there we have our completed Millennium Falcon, which I have to say, we lost a few bits on the floor, we're all clear. I have to say, is lovely, fantastic, not too bad at all. I think by the time you'd paint and weather this thing, you'd be fine. If you just want to fly it around the house, then go for your life. Now, we haven't put the laser guns on either, because quite frankly, they're okay, but perhaps you want to upgrade them and change them, because they should be like 4 coming out, and they're not. They're sort of moulded all in one. I think we can do something with that. As you can see, we've got loads of parts left over on the sprue, so you could actually downgrade this to put it onto 3 legs and be the original Millennium Falcon from the fifth film, 4th, 5th, 6th, 4th film. And do it that way, okay, because we have got all the parts down here on the sprue to close up that gear door and to do it all manually, okay, so you not a problem with that. We're just looking at all the parts, making sure you've got none left over, which you shouldn't have. They're all fine, okay, so there we have it. We're all good. I'm just missing, there it is, one gear door somewhere just underneath here on this side. So there we go. How long did that take? Just over half an hour? Fantastic. So there we go. There you have your Millennium Falcon. As I said, not as detailed and refined as fine moulds and all the rest of it in the Bandai one, but I think by the time this one's been painted up and done properly, it will really bring it to life, and it actually is a really good kit. As far as the kids are concerned, something to build on Christmas Day and all the rest of it, then go and get them it, because it is fantastic. It will be absolutely brilliant. And all the detail is there. It's just crying out to be better painted and weathered and all the rest of it. But from a straightforward, out of the box build just like that, I've really enjoyed it. And as I say, I think it's something that the kids can really sink their teeth into. If you're brand new to modelling, then go and get it, and then that way you can do just practice little bits and pieces and then seam filling, stuff like that. It has got some issues, don't get me wrong. The cockpit is an awful fit, it needs to be sorted out. Some of the way it goes together on the sides, I think by the time you got in there with filler, you know, and various little bits of detail, just to liven it up a little bit more. But generally looking around it, I think the detail, lose that, is all there. You know, we've got all these areas. Yes, round the back, we all know that's incorrect and all the rest of it, so glossing over that, you know, but generally it's all here. It's all there just to be done nicely. But say this cockpit, I don't want to force it because obviously it's a glass fit, and I think we're playing around with a bit more time and all the rest of it would be fine, but I've got to take it off to be my next stage with it anyway. But there we go. Something really, really simple. Nice to cut your teeth into, nice to go out and buy if you wanted to obviously have something slightly bigger without having to go down the fine moulds route of spending literally hundreds and hundreds of pounds on the fine moulds kits. Then you can go down and do it this route, but definitely a bit of a must for any Star Wars fan.